Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, which is local to North Alabama. That's on Charter Communications Horizon Television. You can also find us on worldwide television, syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. I want to thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoons. And if you also watch on all the social media sites, thank you for doing that as well. We would appreciate a like and a share if you don't mind doing that as well. I'm talking to you today about food waste. So I have 12 tips for reducing food waste. So let's talk about this. This is from the website, one of my favorite websites, foodwise.com, foodwise.com. And so the author of this article says, food is a weapon, don't waste it. This was a popular motto during World Wars I and II, and when the U.S. made it a national priority to conserve resources by curbing food waste. Today, about 40% of food, about 20 pounds per person per month, oh, that sounds high, in the United States gets wasted, while 17.6 million American households are food insecure. Now, waste happens all along the food chain. This can be from field to plate, and waste in our homes accounts for about 28% of fruit and vegetable losses alone. A lot of that waste could be prevented by simple habit changes. Like I preserve everything. If I find something on sale, I go ahead and start freezing it or canning it right away just to make sure nothing is wasted. Now, the National Resources Defense Council estimates that if we reduced our food waste by 15%, we could feed 25 million Americans. Making sure food gets into bellies instead of the landfill also ensures that precious water, labor, and water is not squandered. Now, with help from the NRDC, here are some easy tips that we can use to take the bite out of food waste and also save time and money in the process. But first, let's go to this video. It's less than a minute. We'll be right back.
In the U.S., more than 1/3 of all available food goes uneaten through loss or waste. Wasting food is a waste of money. An average family of 4 loses nearly $1,500 to uneaten food each year. But you can reduce food waste at home with these 4 easy steps. Plan ahead. Before you go to the grocery store or order online, make a list so you don't buy more than you need. Serve smart. Portion control is good for your waistline and good for reducing plate waste. Love your leftovers. Pack leftovers in small portions in shallow containers. Mark the contents and date, and refrigerate or freeze immediately. Compost, don't trash. Food in landfills produces harmful methane. You can recycle your food scraps in a home compost bin or at a local compost center. With every meal, you can save food, save money, and protect the environment. Learn more at this website.
And I think those are fantastic tips, but I have some I'm going to add to that list. First of all, let's talk about ugly food. Ugly food? There's no food that's ugly, but ugly food needs love too. Due to cosmetic standards, a lot or mostly oddly shaped fruits and vegetables rarely make it to the grocery store shelf. I don't care what it looks like. It can be oddly shaped. An apple that has weird sides on it, I don't care. It's an apple. But these often don't make it to the grocery store. But at the farmer's market, I'm going to do another plug for the farmer's market. At the farmer's market, you can actually find that. Less perfect, but it's perfectly delicious specimens. Help boost the demand for produce that would otherwise go to waste while giving these unsung heroes a good home. Again, who cares what it looks like? Let me tell you something you can do to an apple. There's so many things. You go to the farmer's market and you'll probably, by the end of the day, they just want to get rid of their stuff, so you might get even a better deal than when it's out there. But who cares? Pay the full price. It's still a good deal. So let's say you want to buy a bushel of apples. Oh my God, I got really ambitious. What am I going to do with a bushel of apples? Oh, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. With the peeling, you can use that to make good old apple butter. And there's some really good recipes on there. And if you don't have a whole lot of time to cook it, there are recipes online to make these in a crock pot. And I've done it a lot of times. Best stuff you can get. And it's really, really good. Apple butter. You can also use it in your gardening. You can use this stuff for all kinds of things. Now, let's say you have a bushel of apples. What am I going to do with a bushel of apples? Okay, so I have done the peeling. By the way, if you're going ahead and put those apples in some water that has a little bit of lemon juice, let's say to a gallon of water, maybe a quarter cup of lemon juice, it keeps it from turning brown. But I don't even care if it turns brown, because here's what I do. I like to dry my apples. I've got them all year long. There's less room on canning shelf, and you can keep it in the freezer if you'd like to do that. It's up to you, whatever. But we eat a lot of dried apples, and I'm going to have to tell you, there's nothing better than a dried fried apple pie. All you have to do is plump the apples up just a bit, put some water in them, hydrate them, put a little bit of sugar in them, and and go ahead and cook them on the oven. In the oven if you want to, or on top of the stove. Put a little sugar to it, maybe just a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it up. Put those in some beautiful, beautiful pie crust, and you can either have just a plain old apple pie or make some fried apple pies. All kinds of stuff you can do with your things, getting a good deal at the same time, plus you're preserving, and you got it setting in the corner for later on in the wintertime when it's yucky outside and you'd like to have a little bit of taste of some summertime. Okay, so we talked about ugly produce. Okay, let's talk about loving your leftovers. I'll have to tell you, there's nothing better than leftover chili, leftover spaghetti. It tastes better. And I'll have to tell you what Phil and I did over the weekend. So he cooked out some hamburgers, and I got 2 pounds of hamburger meat. By the way, from my local farmer right here. Yeah, and which is the best ground beef you can get. And then I also used 2 pounds of sausage, and I mix it all together. I put a little bit of barbecue sauce in it, put some of my herbs in there. I like sage, dried sage, so I put some of that in there as well, and with some chives and some onion. And then I went on ahead and rounded those up into, they were not perfect, who cares, it's hamburger. So I put those, divided them up into their own little hamburger patties, put those in the refrigerator and let it set overnight. So then what I did, so Phil and I did a tag team on this. So I put these in an iron skillet, and I cooked them for about 2 or 3 minutes on each side. Took them out, put them back in the fridge again. So Phil was ready. First of all, it cut back on, it was hot outside, so it cut back on his having to be out there on the grill all that time. And also it holds the meat together better. He puts a little barbecue sauce on the outside of it. And so we got a bunch of hamburgers that we're going to be eating within the next few weeks. Now, don't leave them in the fridge. So what you want to do is you want to put them in the freezer and just put them on a cookie sheet. Let them freeze, put them into really good freezer bags. And this time, when Phil and I, maybe we have a baked potato and we want something to go with it, I'll just go into the freezer, get out a couple of those really good hamburgers that Phil cooked out, and then put those on a plate, and maybe with a salad or some green beans, and we got us a meal. And we've cooked one time, but I've got various meals. I think there's probably about 30 of those hamburger patties that are going to be really, really good. And if you'll make sure you get all the air out of the bags that you possibly can, you're going to be better off, because enemy in the freezer or preserving is air. So get out all the air you possibly can, but love your leftovers. Okay, now what the author says about this: eat them as is, or give them a fresh twist by tossing them in a salad, which is something you do with leftover chicken. That's what they do at restaurants. Or into a taco, or scrambling them with eggs. Some foods like soups and curries are even better a day or two after. I agree with that. An everlasting meal, cooking with economy and grace. And this author, Tamar Adler, says, great meals rarely start at points that all look like beginnings. They usually pick up where something else leaves off. So use those chicken bones or vegetable scraps to make stock. Makes good stock. Toast stale bread with some herbs for croutons. Or you can combine a little bit of yesterday's stew with some rice and top it with an egg for a hearty lunch. I do it all the time. So chili, okay, so all the versatile things you can do with chili. Okay, so we've made a big pot of chili. Okay, I'm going to put these in individual containers and toss them in the freezer, or you can can them. Make sure you use your canner for that, okay, because you want to make sure nothing weird gets inside your food. So have your own canned chili. So let's say I've been working all day, been taping shows, or maybe I had a live remote somewhere, and I come in and I'm just tired. I'm too tired to even stop at a restaurant and pick up something to go. Well, guess what I can do? I can reach in the pantry and get some chili. By the way, when I can, I'm just for the two of us. I like to use little pint-sized jars or something maybe even smaller because there are so many variations. We can have another bowl of chili and put some cornbread with it. That's always serves as a purpose. Or I can get it and make any kind of a fiata with it. I can do this. I can go ahead and make sure, by the way, that it's at room temperature. You can add maybe some of your already cooked up meats to go in it. Put a little bit of sausage, have a fajita with it, put some cheese on top, and you got a great fajita. Another thing you can do with it is, do a salad with it. Get some fresh leaf salads, maybe out of your garden, or maybe at the farmer's market, and put some chips on top of it, maybe some corn chips, and then put a little bit, go ahead and heat it up, and then put your chili on top of that with a little sour cream. Man, it's so good. You can do taco salads out of it as well. So anyway, think about leftovers. It's a great thing to do. Okay, unleash your inner artist. Everybody's an artist. I don't care who you are. Let food waste inspire your culinary creativity. So turn watermelon rinds into pickles. Makes fantastic pickles. Oh, override avocados into chocolate mousse. I'd try that. Or carrot tops into pesto. And I'll tell you something else you can do with your carrot tops. You can put that into some dirt and actually make more carrots out of it. Yeah. We've done that several times here on the show. Remember what I do with cabbage. Now, if I buy cabbage, I want to make sure that the bottom of it, that little lip part of it, I want to make sure it's at least a half an inch when I buy them, at least a half an inch. Then what I do, we're not going to eat that part. So what I'm going to do is put it in water, and I'm going to let it start sprouting. Then I want to plant it into the ground, and guess what? I got a cabbage for nothing. Just took me a little bit of time to put it in there. So think about that, okay? Oh, let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant, with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdy.lawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we're back. Let's talk about how to not waste food. And we've had some great suggestions. I found this from foodwise.org. Some great information here. Okay, now this is something interesting. Eat in order of operations. So eat food in the order of purchase. It's a good idea. First in the fridge, first out. When dining out, order wisely and take any leftovers home. I do that all the time. When I order a chicken fingers, I never eat all of them. You know, especially the restaurants we have that our sponsors are our sponsors. So when I don't eat all of my chicken fingers, I always take them home and I put them in salad the next day. Excellent salad. Okay, when you can't eat it all, every couple of days take an inventory of your fridge and make sure that some items don't get forgotten. Sometimes they just get packed in the back of the refrigerator and you forget them. See what you have on hand before shopping or eating out. Now, another great idea is the freezer is your friend. Yes, it is. So when you can't eat it all, store excess food in the freezer to extend its edible lifespan. Always make sure you put dates and everything on there too. And put where it came from. So if it's left over from eating out and it's chicken fingers, make sure you put the date on that and where you actually ate it from. To retain nutrition and color, blanch vegetables by immersing them into boiling water for several minutes, about 4 or 5 minutes, no longer than that. Then you want to hurry up and plunge them in ice cold water before you freeze them. It retains that really pretty, like green beans, they'll look green. They'll be a beautiful color green. As a matter of fact, even better looking than if you don't blanch them. So pack in an airtight bag to avoid freezer burn. Remember, air can be an enemy to food. Find tips for freezing other preservation methods by going to the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Veggie tops are tops. Don't toss them. Don't toss those tops. Don't toss beet greens, cauliflower leaves, lemon skins, or broccoli stalks, because many fruit or vegetable parts typically assumed to be trash are not only edible, but they're also very nutritious and delicious. Carrot tops can be used in the place of parsley, while fava pods can be grilled and eaten along with the beans. And you can get more tips by going to Tara Duggan's Root to Stalk Cooking and try her recipes for radish green salad and charred stem hummus, or a recipe for carrot top pesto. Be a clever chef. You're clever. Go ahead and eat those strawberry tops and cucumber ends. You can do that. Yeah, don't worry about cutting out those tomato cores. Laziness in the kitchen means less goes into the compost. But now compost is a good thing if you got a garden, okay? Don't just throw them in the trash can. You need to put those in compost. Shop wisely and only buy what you need or what you can preserve. Because I'll have to tell you, some of the grocery stores sometimes they put a really, maybe they have more bananas and they put some into a cart that maybe $1 for several bananas, and maybe the bananas have turned brown, maybe the peel is a little bit brown or maybe blackish. No worries, all you have to do is just stick that in your freezer. Excellent banana bread. You can't, the more ripe bananas are in banana bread, the tastier it is. Okay, so shop wisely and only buy what you need. So a little meal planning can go a long way in keeping food waste at a minimum. So shop in bulk for pantry items and buy produce in smaller quantities more frequently. Unless you do like me and you put it in the freezer. Cooking perishable items soon after they purchase will help you avoid spoilage down the road and provide quick, easy reheated meals for the rest of the week. Now another thing you can do, like for strawberries, you need to, even if you pay full price for them, okay, and they're not on sale, sometimes they can be disguised. Sometimes you'll look in the middle of the little container and you'll see some strawberries look like they might be about to ripe a little bit too quick. Those are the ones you want to use first. Another thing I like to do, because we have our own strawberries, but I have bought strawberries in the past, and I would go ahead and put them on the cookie sheet, put them in the freezer for about an hour, put them individually in a good freezer bag. Get out just a couple, whatever you want to eat. Phil loves to have those in his oatmeal. And so that's a great thing you can do, especially if you find them on sale. Let's see. A little meal planning goes a long way. Shop in bulk for pantry items and buy produce in smaller quantities. Cooking perishable items soon after purchase will help avoid spoilage down the road and provide quick, easy, reheated meals for the rest of the week. Now, store your foods smarter. Don't let good produce go bad. Many produce items spoil prematurely due to poor storage, so get to know the storage needs of different fruits and vegetables. For example, tomatoes keep best at room temperature. They do. While different fruits and vegetables may do better in the refrigerator. For example, tomatoes keep best at room temperature while greens stay freshest placed in a plastic bag with a paper towel, and make sure you put the paper towel in, then put it in a bag, and so keep that in the refrigerator crisper drawer. Now, one rotten apple does indeed spoil the bunch, so compost any damaged items, keeping the still edible parts. All you gotta do is just peel off the bad stuff and avoid letting spoilage spread. Okay, now let's talk about this. Know your refrigerator's microclimates. Did you know that not all refrigerator shelves are created equal? The lowest shelves are the coolest part to store foods with a high safety risk like meats and poultry, while ready to eat or pre-cooked foods like leftovers can be stored on the slightly warmer upper shelves. Now, the refrigerator door is the warmest zone, so it's the best for storing condiments, not dairy and eggs. So you can put like your ketchup and stuff like that in the door. Now, take sell-by dates with a grain of salt. A report by the NRDC found that sell-by, use-by, and best-by, which lack uniformity in federal regulation, excuse me, I lost my place, create confusion and unnecessarily food waste in the home. While such dates are set by manufacturers in order to let retailers know when food is at its peak quality, they cause 9 out of 10 Americans to needlessly dispose of perfectly good food. While expiration dates can be the starting point for gauging freshness, let your eyes, nose, and common sense be your guide. Okay, this is what we mean by this. So and I have actually bought canned food when it was within the expiration date, but I would notice that maybe there was a little puffiness on the top part of the can, and it just seemed, something just didn't seem right. And if you get the can opener and you start opening the can, and it kind of makes this little, not an explosion, but it kind of goes, kind of like that, just a little bit, and maybe it splatters, is probably not good, even if it's within the food expiration date. Also, if it has a weird smell to it, toss it. Don't put it in the compost pile. You need to put it in a plastic bag and put it in the trash can, okay? So, because you do not want ruined food like that, canned stuff, in your compost pile. Just be really, really careful. If it smells weird, if the top of the can looks weird, if it has a little bit of rust on it, I've even had new within the expiration dates have a little rust on them. That I don't like. But if you open up the can and it's past the expiration date, I've opened up cans of food a year past the expiration date. It smelled good. It didn't have a puffy looking top to it, but it did smell good. I went on ahead and kept it, and we're still here to talk about it. I didn't get sick. But again, even with the expiration date, make sure you're careful with that. Share the bounty. Okay, got a fruit tree or maybe a home garden with an overwhelming bounty. Have safe, edible food that you don't want to go to waste. You can also contact food runners or maybe some of the food kitchens that accept food donations from the home. And that's another good thing to do. I know Roger and Mary across the street, Roger and Mary Ritchie, had an overabundance, like almost everybody does, of squash. And so Roger sent me a text message and he said, would you like to have some squash? And I said, sure, because you know what I do? I make stuff out of it. And you can make a real good squash pesto. Yeah, you can do that. And also you could put it up and make a kind of like a relish. And the key to the relish is find a recipe that actually has vinegar, like the white vinegar, because that's going to help preserve that food. Now, some people will put it in a canner. You can do a good water bath. Now, what I mean by water bath, after you've canned it and you know it's good, so go ahead and can it and do a water bath. Put maybe however many jars you can fit into a big pan. But now make sure it's filled up at least an inch above the top of the jar. Go ahead and have it in boiling water. Boil it for at least 10 minutes, at least. The other thing I like to do is leave it in the water until the water cools down. And I know there's nothing weird growing in it. Now that sometimes doesn't cause the jar to seal. So what you want to do is take it out of the water before you put it in the pantry. Okay, this is key. Before you put it into the pantry, you want to take the sealing lid off and you want to hold the jar by that sealing lid, you know, the one that's got that little rubber thing around it. So you want to hold it up by that. If it doesn't come off, you got a good sealed lid. Also, you'll know it's sealed because it's indented down. If it's puffed up just a little bit, it's not enough seal to it. You need to go ahead and either put it back in the water bath or put it in your pressure cooker or put it in the refrigerator and go ahead and start eating on it. That's what happened to one of mine. One of mine did not seal. So guess what? When we had our hamburgers and hot dogs, we had relish on those. Fresh relish. So make sure you do that. One more thing, when all else fails, compost. That's the magic of having a fantastic garden without spending a bunch of money, okay? After all these measures, you still have food scraps. Put them in the compost bin, not the garbage. Food waste rotting in landfills accounts for 25% of methane emissions in the United States. Didn't know it was that high. While composting reduces our climate impact and recycles nutrients to grow more food. Best thing you can do for your garden. My name is Donna. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television as well, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You have a fantastic rest of the day, and share this if you don't mind. We'd definitely appreciate it.